Shireen, you're up first. What can't you wait to see?
Well, can Dak Prescott pass for more than 450 yards again? He's done it the last 3 weeks. He went 266, 450, 472, 502. So judging by that, it's going to be more than 502, right? If he keeps continuing to go up that pace. But look, they need to run the ball better. And maybe this is a week that Ezekiel Elliott finally gets going. He's in the longest stretch of his career without a 100-yard game. He's currently at 6 games without 100 yards. The Cowboys are 22-5 when he rushes for 100 yards. I really think they need to get the running game going. They're playing the Giants defense, which is probably the best defense they played. You can argue the Rams may be better, but at least yards-wise, the Giants rank 5th in overall defense. So the Cowboys are going to have a test this week. I think maybe their biggest test they've had for this offense.
Same game for me. I think this is such a huge game, even though the teams are a combined 1-7, and it lacks the luster that it has in the past. Even though the Broncos-Patriots game got moved, I was stunned that CBS shifted the start time of Broncos-Patriots from 1 to 4:25 Eastern when they have Giants-Cowboys. CBS loves it when they get Giants-Cowboys. That's the game that the networks arm wrestle over every year. This year, it's really not that intriguing, but it is. Because I'm going to be looking for Jason Garrett, not just a perfunctory, I don't know what else to do with my hands clap, but clapping in applause because his offense gets it done against the defense. Because I really do think if the Cowboys defense gets embarrassed against Jason Garrett's offense, there will be hell to pay. And my guess is Jerry Jones has read the riot act to everyone about this week because they chose to fire Jason Garrett. And if Garrett is responsible in whole or in part for the Giants coming in and making Jerry look bad for making that decision, there will be other decisions made very quickly, and I think Mike Nolan will not be employed come Monday. So the more Jason Garrett claps, the more likely it is Mike Nolan's going to be packing his bags the next day.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Mike. I mean, Mike Nolan is on the hook this week. He's got to stop that Giants defense, which frankly hasn't been hard to do this year. Everybody's stopped them. If the Cowboys can't stop them, yeah, they're in big trouble, and Mike Nolan's probably gone on Monday, and there may be some more guys gone on Monday. There will be a price to pay if they lose to Jason Garrett and these Giants.
All right, Shireen, what else you got?
My second one is, have the Eagles turn the corner? Is this the Eagles that we expected to see? Is this a rebound? I mean, when you look at the passer ratings, Carson Wentz is dead last at 33rd. He's still turning the ball over and doing all the things you don't want him to do, but he did look somewhat better on Sunday. Now, he's not going to have his receivers. We know that. Deshaun Jackson's out. Jalen Reagor is still out. Alshon Jeffrey out. So he doesn't necessarily have the weapons. It's not all his fault. But when you're a quarterback like an Aaron Rodgers and you don't have Devontae Adams and you don't have some of your other receivers, what do? Lazard. You step up and you find other guys who can catch the ball. You go to your tight end, Robert Tonyan. So Carson Wentz is going to have to step up and make some plays for us to say the Eagles have turned the corner and they can make do with whatever receivers you put out there.
And, you know, the Steelers are not exactly the stiff challenge that we assume. They've beaten 3 teams who aren't very good. They could have lost every one of those games. And the only team they've beaten that's won a game was the Broncos, who beat the Jets, who are winless. So I'm curious as to what the Steelers really have. And I want to see what that front seven does against Carson Wentz and vice versa. So that should be a great game. I want to know this weekend, and I can't wait to see whether we see Alex Smith play. I don't know how much leeway Kyle Allen has. He was ultimately benched last year after he replaced Cam Newton, and he did a respectable job, but it screams out, as you've said earlier this week, backup quarterback. I think they're just buying time until Alex Smith can play, and I want to see him play. Peter King said today on PFT Live that if Alex Smith just takes one snap this season, he will get Peter's vote for comeback player of the year. And I agree with that. But I look at that division and you look at where the teams are, and it's a war of attrition. None of these teams has anyone who's waiting around who can make the team significantly better. There's no one who's going to show up. Alshon Jeffrey, I don't know that he's ever even going to show up. But if Alex Smith can play like he did before breaking his leg, That changes the dynamic in the NFC East, and that makes Washington a contender. They're only a half game behind first place after 4 games with Dwayne Haskins. And the sooner they get Alex Smith on the field, the better their chance, Shireen, to be a contender to win that division and somehow host a playoff game.
Well, they have a great defense. We saw that the first week with those 8 sacks, but they're 30th in offense. And you're right. If they can just find a little bit of offense, score a little bit, help out the defense a little bit, that's going to be a team to contend with. And, Alex Smith, he's made 161 career starts, so he knows how to get it done. He's been there. He's done that. We haven't seen him in almost 2 years. And to me, it's already a great comeback story. Whether he plays or not, it becomes far bigger if he takes that one snap. Now, I think Aldon Smith deserves some consideration for that comeback player of the year, because sitting out 5 years is really hard to do and come back and do what he's done. But the different circumstances why they are where they are in their comeback stories, and Alex Smith is truly remarkable. I would love to see him play. I would love to see him become the starting quarterback of Washington and see what they can do with him. What a comeback story.
Ultimately, who wins comeback player of the year may be driven by whether Washington or Dallas wins that division. These votes are cast once the dust settles on the season. Maybe that will be a factor. If you make it to the playoffs and you're Alex Smith or Aldon Smith, you get a chance to win the award. All right, Shireen, what else are you what is it? Can't wait to see. What else can't you wait to see this weekend? Can't you wait to see?
Well, I want to see how the Texans respond to Romeo Crennel. We've heard all this talk of, Bill O'Brien berated the players. They hated playing for him. He got in a fight with J.J. Watt and defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver, and that kind of was the camel that broke the straw that broke the camel's back and all of those things. So you like Romeo. They've said high praise for him all week. So go out and play for him. Go out and win a game for him and show that maybe it was Bill O'Brien. Maybe you did need to make this change and go win a game for Romeo Crennel. So I want to see how they respond this week. Are they better than the 0-4 team that we've seen the first 4 weeks? I don't think they have the talent. I think they're a terrible team. Before the season started, I said they looked to me like a 6-win, 7-win team. But we're going to find out this week if coaching can make a difference, because they repeatedly have said they love Romeo.
Yeah, and look, to the extent that there was some sort of a rebellion against Bill O'Brien, I'm skeptical of this idea that Bill O'Brien got into verbal altercations in the final weeks of his job with J.J. Watt and Anthony Weaver, the defensive coordinator. Look, Bill O'Brien is a walking verbal altercation. That's who he is. That's what he does. But if it did get to the point where J.J. Watt had the straw that broke the camel's back, and Watt wanted this, and there was some sort of an uprising, all right, you're right, time to go perform. You got what you wanted. Now go do something about it. Be better than what you've been so far this season. I still feel bad for the Texans because they got the schedule from hell right out of the gates. And you know what? If Al Riveron doesn't overturn the Will Fuller touchdown catch, now I think it was a good call to overturn it. But, as we've discussed earlier in the week, he may not have been fired. Bill O'Brien may still be there. So let's see what they can do with Romeo Crennel. And I finally realized why when I ask you, what can't you wait to see? It reminds me of the movie Hell or High Water. And Shireen, if you haven't seen it, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. Have you seen Hell or High Water?
I have not.
It is an excellent movie. I highly recommend that you see it. It was nominated for Best Picture a few years ago. It's set in Texas, so you'll like it. It's about a bank robbery pair of guys that get into all sorts of stuff. But there's a waitress in there when the two cops go to the T-Bone Cafe. She asks him, what don't you want? And so every time I say, what can't you wait to see, I think, what don't you want? Because the only option you have is whether you don't want green beans or don't want corn, because you get a T-bone steak and baked potato, and that's all they serve. So what don't you want? They have a little thing about that. So every time I ask you, what can't you wait to see, I think of the waitress from the T-Bone Cafe in Hell or High Water, and hopefully at least one person out there was entertained by that last 90 seconds and doesn't feel like they've wasted a minute and a half of their life that they're never getting back. I can't wait to see how the Browns will do against a team with a great defense, because we saw what they can do against a team with a horrendous defense. They put up 49 points. They don't have Nick Chubb. They did have 307 rushing yards, and he only had 43 of them. They want to get the ball into Odell Beckham Jr.'s hands early. That's what Kevin Stefanski told me after the game. What can they do against that swarming, aggressive, come up and hit you and knock you down and run past your linemen and ultimately just be a very, very good defense in an age of not very good defense? The Browns are going to find out a lot about themselves, and we're going to find out a lot about the Browns this week and next week when they play the Steelers. 3-1, could go 3-3, could go 4-2, could go 5-1, and it's going to be fun to see what they do over the next couple of games.
I think we find out a lot about the Browns in this game just because of the type of defense they're going against. I mean, the Colts declared themselves the best defensive football. Statistically, they are the best defensive football. And this is a great matchup of to me, a really good offense that can win any way you want it to win. Now, whether they do or not, it's an entirely different story. But they can run the ball and they can throw the ball on you if Baker Mayfield is halfway accurate, because they have so many weapons out there. So I want to see how they match up, how they intend to score points on the Colts, because they can do it anyway. And it's nice to have an ex-rushing champion to fill in when you lose your lead running back in Nick Chubb. And Kareem Hunt I know he's been banged up with that groin a little bit and only had 11 carries last week, but I think he's pretty good to go this week. So I think we're going to see a healthy dose of Kareem Hunt.
All right, time for one more, Shireen. What can't you wait to see?
How about Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson, the first of what we think are going to be many divisional matchups between these two quarterbacks? And Joe Burrow has played great. He hasn't looked like a rookie from the start, and we know what Lamar Jackson is. Now, we talked earlier in the show about how the injury, how it might affect him, but it's just going to be a good matchup between these quarterbacks, and I think it's going to be a long list of great games between these two guys.
Yeah, I agree. And, we're looking for the next Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Now, they didn't play twice a year. They would typically meet once a year in most years and then cross paths from time to time in the postseason. These guys are guaranteed to play twice a year. They're going to be jockeying for division titles. I've said this before. Now, I don't know which way Baker Mayfield is going to go. But Let's say Baker Mayfield pans out. The Steelers had better have a plan post Ben Roethlisberger, because we got a glimpse of it last week, or not last week, but last year with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges, and they got Josh Dobbs back. But man, they're going to be in some trouble after Ben Roethlisberger is done, and they may just need to hope that there's a great quarterback in the draft and get themselves in position to get him. They went a long 20 years between Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger, and they finally bit the bullet in 2004 and went after a quarterback that they believed in, and it worked. But they better be ready to do something like that, or they're going to have some dark years in Pittsburgh with Burrow and Jackson, and if Mayfield and the Browns continue on this track, the Steelers are not going to have an easy time of it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.